Hey, Dave Rother here, and in this video I'm going to show you how you can get millions of eyes on your product, on your content, on your service, and three specific ways that you can do this. Now, the internet's a big place, and it's now not unreasonable to expect these kind of results, to expect your content or your product to be seen by millions of people. In fact, with the right strategies in place, a single post can be seen by millions of people in literally a matter of hours. If you get it right. But in terms of everything that we're talking about in these videos, we're talking about like how to actually engineer content that will do that without you having to break the bank with ads. And also creating content that is actually relevant but will also drive sales in your business, which is the most important thing, right? So it's all well and good getting millions of people to look at your content, look at your ads, look at your whatever it is, look at your product, but if they're not buying it, it's completely useless. It's a complete waste of your time as a business owner. Again, I really got to drive this home. The function of a business is to generate revenue and provide value. So, and in fact, generate revenue in return for providing value. And therefore, if you're getting worried or scared or whatever funny, icky about the concept of making money, then consider, what the most important thing to your business is staying alive, is selling more products so that you can provide more value and staying alive. It's this whole kind of full cycle, which I know a lot of people get into a funny thing about. A few sort of clients and coaching clients that I've been speaking to recently kind of funny about this, but the one function of a business is to make sales, is to make that full circle of making sales. And therefore that's what we really need to focus on the most. So in regards to actually creating content which is going to get millions of eyes on it, well, first of all, it needs to be relevant and it needs to adhere to all the other principles that I've been speaking to you about in these videos. So it needs to have elements of the 8 viral trigger points. You need to get elements in there which are going to make people share, which are going to make your content remarkable. Because at the end of the day, there's no point flyering content in front of people which is going to be irrelevant to them and they're not going to take any notice. So that's kind of a precursor to what we're talking about here. We need to combine these principles which I'm talking to you about today with all the other principles of virality so that you can create content which is really great. Once you get it in front of people, once you get it observed by people, then it spreads and it continues to spread. But the 3 different ways that I wanted to talk to you about today are 3 sort of quite different and quite sparse, but all relate to getting noticed online. So the first one is PR. And this is actually, this is actually remarkably easy to get with the right concepts in place, because there's so much information on the web right now, and this is something that we're trying to contend with, but also big publications, huge publications, specifically in your niche, anywhere on the internet, people are crying out for really valuable content. Even publications like BuzzFeed, for example, like a lot of the viral publications that I've been featured in the past, a certain amount of their content is sponsored. A certain amount of their content, they actually get companies to pay to play. They actually get them to pay for the space. So big businesses like your McDonald's, like your Cokes and Pepsis, like these huge corporations, the jobs of these social networks who rely on their kind of sponsorship to make revenue, to make money. There's a certain amount of people that they get sponsorship from, but they can't afford to make content all day, every day, only on sponsorships. They need to find a certain amount of content which is worth talking about, which is worth writing about. And that's how, when other people were paying tens of thousands, if not millions, and a few contracts of a few people I know within those specific areas were in the millions of dollars, literally for a series of posts. Those people are paying millions of dollars for this exposure. We were able to get it with our crazy little product for free because we created something which was remarkable, which is worth talking about. Now, when it comes to creating content, we could kind of cross over here into the last video about remarkability. But when it comes to getting eyes on your brand and eyes on your product, it doesn't need to be direct. It could be about, when it comes to PR, they're looking for a story. They're looking at something which is worth talking about. So if it's your product like us, then that's great. You just need to illustrate your product to them in a way which they can consume, they can understand. So it's kind of like when you're going out to a marketplace and you need to create your content in a way that your market can understand. It's the same with press. So say it was BuzzFeed, for example, or say it was Guerrilla Creations was another one that we got featured in. We sent across a pre-edited video, a pre-shot video, in the style that they made their videos, and said, hey, look at what we've got. Would you like to feature us? Here's all the individual raw files in case you want to recut our video. We made it very, very easy for them. Now they're looking for content. They saw this product that we had that was remarkable. They saw a really easy opportunity, everything they needed handed to them on a plate, and they took it. So PR is actually remarkably easy to get when you actually have the right thing in place and you have what they're looking for. If you want to learn more about PR and how to get PR really easily, head over to the Viral by Design podcast and listen to one of the first episodes with a guy called Andrew O'Brien. Andrew's a really smart guy. He's done PR for some really, really big names, specifically in the internet marketing niche. He's probably the finest authority I know on PR, on how to actually get in press. So go and listen to that episode. It's absolutely full of juice, and Andrew's a fantastic person to follow as well. So the next thing to consider, and this, incidentally, just to bring that full circle, very, very easy to get millions of eyes on your content when you get good PR. With publications, I'll probably do a whole extra video on PR, in fact, at some stage over the next few days or weeks. But when you get in one publication, like a small publication, then other publications start to read other people and they talk. You know, the whole network of journalists is a pretty tightly niche thing, especially within your niche as well. It's going to be a tight group of people. They all talk to each other. They all look at what's going on in the other publications. And especially online, where they don't have to wait for things to come out to print before they start copying each other's content, it happens instantaneously. So you can get in one publication, and then other people will start getting in touch with you. Other people, it's like a snowball effect. So this can happen really, really fast. And this PR for us works fantastically well. In fact, we didn't even do any PR outreach. We just got picked up on Twitter by a journalist, and within a week, everybody else had picked it up. So that's number one. That's where we started out when I first started my businesses about 4 or 5 years ago. We didn't really do anything else at this point on social media whatsoever. It was very, very nuts and bolts. And we managed to, one of the first ever businesses I ever set up, and the first day we had 300 customers sign up on the first day just through PR. So it's super, super powerful if you get it right. So the next one to consider is organic. So organic, primarily social media. We talk about social media. Organic social media is basically social media that you don't pay for. Now, as you know, it used to be considerably easier to get organic reach. So to be able to reach people on social media. If somebody followed you on Facebook or on Instagram, then when you posted, pretty much everybody, there was a day when you posted from your business page, everybody that followed you that actually went online saw the post that you made. And the reason that was just because there just wasn't that much content online, there wasn't that much content on Facebook. But as these things become saturated, and as Facebook as a business that needs to make money, not that it has too much of trouble doing it, then obviously these platforms become pay to play. So even the big power pages, even the big, a lot of the people that we speak to on the podcast, a lot of the people who built big pages in the past, in those kind of glory days of Facebook, up until really only about 3 or 4 years ago when that really died down, you were able to create pages and engagement organically on Facebook within days, within weeks, huge, massive audiences. The sad reality is this is not the case anymore. Organic exposure is difficult to get. It's not impossible, and if you do manage to get something which has a huge viral coefficient, is really worth speaking about, talking about, then it will get that kind of lift. But unfortunately, it's not as easy as it used to be. It's not. Social media platforms don't have the same priority around it because they developed the platform to a point, and now the users are the customer, and we as marketers are actually the users of the product, and we as marketers are the customer. So we're having to buy attention if we really want to get that same exposure. And this is the same for those guys who've got these huge power pages as well. They now utilize paid advertising to support their endeavors, and that brings us onto the third one, paid. So paid social, and that could be paid Facebook ads, it could be paid YouTube ads, it could be paid banner ads, etc. There's lots of different ways to look at it, and it's something which scares people. And there's a school of thought of there's a certain amount of people that would never pay for adverts, never pay for ads, and do everything organically. And if you can do that, fantastic, that's great. If you have a following of millions of people like Kendall Jenner or something like that, and you're able to build an entire following organically on social and get huge engagement and get through the noise and happen to be significant enough, then that's great, fantastic. For most of us, that's not the case. for most of us, that is not reality. I'm being very raw with you here. As much as people would like to cover this up, for most of us, or some people would like to cover this up or scare over the fact, for most of us, it's not realistic to expect to run a business on organic social media. It's not realistic, okay? So when it comes to paid advertising, then all we really need to do is to balance an equation, and that is to be able to put $1 in and to be able to get more than $1 out, right? So that's the very nuts and bolts of it. Ideally, we want to get to a point where we can put $1 in and get $5 out, right? Eventually. So we just need to be able to balance this equation. And this was like a huge epiphany point for me when I started doing Facebook ads. Like, we'd already managed to get the, as we spoke about in a previous video, we'd already managed to get this huge like viral uplift, but then we had what I refer to as the dreaded bell curve of doom, where we got, launched our products, and then we got to this point, we're on top of the world, and then things started to die off, and then, oh crap, this isn't working. And then this is the whole kind of area around about like 2016, where I came across the concept of paid advertising. It scared the crap out of me before that. Like, why would I want to pay to use social media? It just didn't make any sense to me. But then when I internalized this whole concept of being able to put $1 in and get $5 out, then it was a lot more attractive. It's kind of like it's the closest thing you'll get to printing money when you get it right? So paid is a fantastic way to get in front of lots of people. And in terms of getting in front of millions of people, then there's loads of different ways that we can use ads, which I'll go on to speak about in some of the videos that are coming up. But how to actually leverage adverts and how you should actually view paid promotion. A lot of people think that paid ads should be an advert to go and buy a thing, but in the social media world in which we live, it's a lot more ingenuitive than that now, and you can do much more exciting things. You can build audiences. You can pay to build an engaged audience. You think, oh crap, I've just paid $1,000 to build this engaged audience. What the hell am I going to do with it now? But then you can give them an offer and make like tens of thousands of dollars out of it as well. So as soon as you start getting comfortable with these ideas of like paying to build audiences, and then being confident that along the way you can make them an offer and get more money out than you put in, then that's a very good reason to start using paid promotion to get millions of eyes on your product. So really what we've spoken about here is observability, which is one of those core concepts of virality, which we spoke about in the first video that I made for you a few days ago. And observability online is basically fed by these kinds of channels. It's PR, it's organic, it's paid. It's various ways of essentially getting your content, your product in front of people. Another word for it is seeding as well. So actually, you need to actually get your content in front of people before they have an opportunity to share it. So regardless of whether your content's viral or not, if you have a viral post and it sits on your computer desktop for eternity and is never seen by a single person, there's no chance that it'll ever go viral, right? Using these different methods, these are ways to seed that content into the marketplace to get the best possible chance of exposure. And we'll talk a little bit more in the coming videos about network theory and how leveraging these different channels in different ways can increase your chances of going viral, can support this kind of thing, can support the drop-offs, and get you more reach when things are about to naturally drop off organically. Then you can get a lot more reach using these different strategies as well.